Okay, let's see about getting everything going here. This has been a long day. Hope that your folks' day was more enjoyable. Up and running. Beautiful. Ravenclaw in Sweden. Nice to see you. How are things? I mean, like, I'm grousing, but like things are okay. I'm tired and just a lot of stuff sort of piling on me at the same time. You know how that goes. Oh, another Ravenclaw. I seem to have a fair number of them in my subscriber base, which very cool as far as I'm concerned. Sup from Long Island. I don't know what that was. Like, I tried to do a Long Island accent, which actually I can't do, but then I realized that halfway through saying it, it came out weird. I'm sorry. Happy birthday. Thank you. It was pretty good. My birthday weekend was lovely. I spent pretty much all of it with my partner Liz. She treated me very well. Saw great friends. Not as many people made it out to a Friday outing as had planned because the weather wouldn't cooperate. But I still got to see a lot of people because I had a show on Saturday, so saw lots of folks there. Caught up with some people I haven't seen in a while. It's yeah, it was a good weekend. Ooh, Slytherin from Australia. Michigan, Brooklyn, man, lots of that. We got 2 Australian Slytherins. Whew. Slytherin from New Orleans, boy. Minnesota Hufflepuff, Hufflepuff from Chicago. I have to wonder how many new Harry Potter people I've picked up now, because the video I ended up doing on the latest things J.K. Rowling said, that went bigger and sparked a lot more of a conversation than I would have thought. So that was surprising in a good way. New Hampshire. Doctor Who guide. Welcome, my friend. I did get, since this is basically the last week of the month that my birthday falls in. Some stuff is still trickling in, just little things. Like the mug. See if we can, there we go. The mug speaks truth. So I got that. The earrings I'm actually wearing right now, a friend of mine made these, so that was nice. In the mail, which means from you folks, got myself another flask. So I now have 2 Harry Potter themed flasks. I've got I solemnly swear that I am up to no good, and now Polyjuice Potion. So that is that's fun. And also got Twice Upon a Time, which actually means that as far as modern Who, new Who goes, the only things I'm missing are series 10 and 11. Once I have those, I'll actually be caught up. Which is nice, because I was actually I was missing most of Capaldi until awesome, wonderful, lovely people gifted me them for my birthday. So that was really nice. Because I had a day at work that went very long, I don't have as much planned for this one as I might normally like to have done. I'm trying to. Oh, okay. So here's a question: how many people got word of the thing that got revealed when Marvel dropped a bunch of Avengers Endgame posters? So this only happened today, so I don't know if I'm about to break a lot of hearts with this. How many people already know what happened? Trying to see if I get response in on that. Oh, question marks. Heard about it. Heard from a friend, but I don't really understand the whole thing about. Well, okay. I'm not sure that it's really a spoiler for the movie. Yeah, there it is. So apparently Shuri went in the snap, which was not depicted in Infinity War. And I know I and Liz, who is I haven't told Liz yet or found out if she knows. I'm assuming she doesn't know because I would be consoling her right now if she knew. So I haven't told her yet. But yeah, Shuri's dead, which was a bit of a frustrating thing to learn because, like I said, her going in the snap wasn't depicted in Infinity War. So this is kind of an awkward way to realize, oh, so she's gone too. Because they basically put out 2 sets of character posters. A bunch of ones in black and white depicting all the characters gone, and then a bunch of ones in color of the ones who are still left. And Shuri was among the fallen. So I'm not necessarily gonna like do a major knock on how dare they, because I have a feeling, given how close the production of Infinity War was to the production and then release of Black Panther, they probably didn't know just how much people were going to love Shuri. So I'm not necessarily going to knock the decision for her to go in this. Like, I think if they knew how big a hit Black Panther was, I don't think they would have gotten rid of T'Challa either, if I'm being honest. But it does feel frustratingly dismissive that it didn't even get depicted, and we find out through marketing a few weeks ahead of the release of the film. I don't know. Like, I don't look forward to telling Liz, because she loves Shuri so much, she can't even say Shuri's name without kind of squeeing a little bit. So that's not going to be fun to tell. Did you like, there's 2 new Dark Phoenix trailers? Seriously? No, I haven't seen them, so couldn't tell you. Hufflepuff from Scotland. They better bring her back. Well, of course they're going to bring her back. Okay, like, look. Don't call me spoilers on this, but, like, people do realize that everyone that went in the snap is going to come back, right? People do realize that, right? Like, the only characters who have a question mark around them as to whether or not we ever see them again are characters who died in something other than the snap. So that's Loki, who is honestly probably perma-dead, although he's still getting his own Disney Plus series set at an earlier point in his life. So, like, we'll see him again. Just chronologically, he might be gone. And Gamora. Gamora's the other big question mark, because the way in which she died was not the snap. Now, depending on how her death ties to the soul gem, maybe if the soul gem is destroyed, we still get her back. But, like, that's debatable. That's a question mark. Like, anyone who dissolved in the snap, they're all coming back. So, like, we'll get Shuri again, but yeah, still. I just want to know, the how portion of how they went and how they come back. Well, I mean, we'll see what we get. Are you ever going to talk? Oh man, I get this one a bit. Oh, let me say it now, because we've got about 80 people on. It's because people come on and off. Like, I want to start a thing where, like, anyone who happens to be home and you're not, like, at work or school, or certainly not if you're going to drive later, but, like, seriously, if you've got alcohol at hand, I think everybody needs to take a drink anytime I either get asked for my pronouns or what kind of music I like, because I feel like both of those happen multiple times every single stream. That said, coming back to this question, okay, are you ever going to talk about Torchwood and the Sarah Jane adventures? Am I ever going to? Probably. Am I going to anytime soon? No, because the thing is, I would have to revisit both of them. So, like, I never got, and I haven't seen all of either of them in the first place. I've only seen in its entirety the first two series of Sarah Jane Adventures. I didn't see the third one. Well, I saw bits and pieces. I didn't see most of the third one. And I haven't seen any of Torchwood Miracle Day. And even taking that on board, I'm not a huge fan of either one of them for different reasons. My feelings of Sarah Jane is just that it's pitched at such a younger audience. Like, it's not even designed to appeal to me, so I don't even consider that a fault. But I'm not a huge fan of it. Whereas Torchwood is just so uneven. Like, honestly, Torchwood is so uneven that I do honestly think it puts Series 11 to shame in terms of being all over the freaking place. So, like, Torchwood, the idea of talking about Torchwood in any depth is exhausting to me. I'll probably do it eventually, but, like, the amount of time I'd have to sink into it to do it any kind of justice, which would require a full rewatch, wow. Logistically, I don't have the time right now, but I don't have the energy for it either. Too bad I'm under 21 because that would be a great way to get hammered. Have you ever heard of Overly Sarcastic Productions? I feel like I've heard that name before, but I don't know why. So maybe? Prosecco time. Thank you. Cheers. Trust me, you don't want to see Miracle Day. Yeah, that's the impression I got. But again, if I'm going to talk about Torchwood in any depth, I kind of need to. Yeah, no, see, Children of Earth is the best thing that Torchwood ever did. But even that, I don't think is flawless. I think the third episode is very padded and honestly probably didn't even need to be there. So even the best thing that they did, I still find fault in. But by far, Children of Earth was the best thing that Torchwood did. Any ideas for any more Harry Potter-centric stuff, like top 10s or sorting other fictional characters? Top 10s, probably not. I think largely because I know how devoted the fan base of Harry Potter is into, like, really getting down to the details. And the thing is, even though I've read all the books, I've seen the movies more than I've read the books. So, like, I really worry that if I ever tried to do top 10s and, like, referred to things like scenes or characters or whatever, I'm gonna end up saying something that's in the movies that's not in the books and get called out for it, and, like, I don't wanna. As far as characters from other franchises being sorted into Hogwarts houses, yes, I do want to do that again. And I want to do more of that with Liz, but, like, trying to get our schedules coordinated when on a time when we both have the energy to sit down and do it is tricky. There are some that I'm probably going to do on my own. Like, I would like to continue to do the Marvel ones with Liz. I'd like to do that with Buffy with Liz. Maybe Star Wars with her. But, like, there's other stuff. I did a list. I'm trying to think of what some of the others were. There's other franchises where I could do it on my own. She either feels like she doesn't have the background knowledge of the franchise, or she just doesn't have the interest level. But yeah, no, that sort of thing I do plan to do more of. I love all your videos, and your live streams. You are amazing. Oh, thank you. Queen Victoria. Thanks, Queen Victoria, for Torchwood. That's true. That's true. We get to thank the Queen for that. They're making the Phoenix a cosmic entity. Oh. Okay. I mean, that's probably a stupid idea. We're talking about the Dark Phoenix movie now. That's probably a stupid idea only because to make that not feel like it was pulled out of their ass, they really need more than one movie to set that up. And, like, I understand that the Phoenix Force, was eventually... Because here's the first thing. The Phoenix Force being a cosmic entity and something that basically inhabits Jean Grey, people seem to forget that's a retcon. And in the Dark Phoenix saga itself, that never comes up. So that's the first reason it's a bad idea to put it in there, because it actually doesn't impact the primary story of the main thrust of the Dark Phoenix saga, because it's a retcon. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the Fox X-Men movies were, up until Apocalypse, which wasn't good and didn't do it well, were pretty dang grounded. So, like, the idea of getting into that end of the cosmic stuff, you can't just jump into it. Because even though it has a precedent in the comics, when they introduced that, or even at the time they did the Dark Phoenix stuff, you know, the Dark Phoenix saga has a battle that happens on the moon, because that's just the stuff that went on in comics at the time. That's not just the kind of stuff that goes on in the Fox X-Men movies. So throwing it in for what is probably going to be the last film, like, that's... To audiences who don't know the source material, they're going to go, where the heck did they get that from? And for anyone who does know the source material, well, it's going to suck anyways. So, you know. Did you ever play Dragon Age? No, I never did get to that one. If you ask me about any video game more recent than the PlayStation 1 era, odds are I have not played it. And if you ask me anything about the current gaming generation, I guarantee you I haven't played it. In the meantime, I'm going to try and watch all the MCU movies before Endgame. Well, that's a project. Enjoy that. So what what pronouns would you rather people use when referring to you? Cheers. So I hope everyone took a drink. I'm not picky. Whatever makes sense in your own head. And actually, I say that, but I'm like, you've been in the you were in the chat earlier, so you just did it to sneaky bugger. Then again, how bad is it that the director of The Last Stand was the director of Dark Phoenix? Not true. No, because the director of Last Stand was Brett Ratner. Simon Kinberg is directing Dark Phoenix. The problem is that Simon Kinberg is a producer, not a director. He's never directed a feature film before. So, like, you can't blame him you can't mark him as the director for Last Stand, but that doesn't mean he's going to be good. So, it's one of those things where, like, I'm not going to praise the guy, but, like, let's be concerned about the true things and not misattribute his failings. I'm not picky is an unusual pronoun. Well played. Wanted to hop in and say I appreciate all your videos and the content on them, especially your LGBTQ reps. Thank you. The last one I did is on that is also doing quite well. That seems to have started getting circulated again after the fact, which is always nice because usually you get the vast majority of however many views a video is going to get within the first 2 days, 48 hours basically. So for something to kind of circle back around and keep picking up views at a steady pace beyond that is not typical and generally a sign that you probably did something right. Who would win in a fight, adipose on LSD or the pating while drunk? Well, I mean, there's really no threat from the adipose. They're only a threat to whoever they're jumping out of. So even drunk, I think the pating takes that very handily. I don't think I'll be able to keep up with every single streaming platform. How do you find the time for them, if any? All right, the only things that I am subscribed to for streaming are Netflix, Amazon Prime, and I'm not even on that for the streaming service. I'm on that for the Prime shipping. And like the streaming service comes with it. I don't use it for much, but I have it. And BritBox, which is how I see Classic Who. So I'm only on 3. I'm not on Hulu. I'm not on CWC, whatever the heck CBS's thing is. I'm depending on how much of it is stuff that my daughter is gonna miss once it's off Netflix. Maybe I'll end up getting the Disney Plus We'll see. That one would be on sufferance just because that is such a massive library. But do you think Apple TV Plus was a good idea? Nope. Apple right now has an air of desperation about them. I don't think Apple has come up with something that felt new. I would say since maybe the Apple Watch, which I'm not sure was even that good idea, but it was a fairly new idea at the time. Apple seems to have moved away from coming up with brand new innovations and instead coming up with their version of something that already exists. And it has the smell of desperation, like, crap, we don't have any new ideas. What is there around that we're not already making? And it's hard to see that as really innovative when they're just jumping on existing bandwagons, especially when they used to be much more at the forefront and the leaders. I mean, iTunes, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, you know, these things were revolutionary at the time that they came out. I mean, heck, even stuff that didn't succeed, like the Apple Watch, was a new direction. It was a new thing. But like Apple TV Plus and Apple getting into all these other things that they announced, I can't even remember all the stuff. Like, no, that just smells like you're going, crap, well, we can't think of anything new, so what else can we slap our name on? But yeah, and I say that as someone who likes Apple products. My phone's Apple. Like, I've only ever used an Apple phone and I like it, but I'm not a company loyalist. So if I think they're doing something dumb, I'm gonna say it. Do you think Dumbledore was a top or a bottom? My inclination is that Dumbledore was probably a bottom. And it's hard to justify that, but that's my gut instinct answer. I think partly because I don't see, like, here's the thing. I think Dumbledore by his nature was probably a switch, but I will bet you he bottomed with Grindelwald, because Grindelwald would not take what he considered to be a subordinate position, and Dumbledore would, in order to be with him, would have gone exclusively bottom. Boy, that went into detail more than I planned. Love your laugh. Oh my god, why have I never thought about this? This is the best question. That was a lot of fun to actually deal with. And like I do actually want to come up with like a follow-up video to the Harry Potter, to the Hogwarts sex ed video, because I had a lot of fun making that. Maybe come up with something a little more planned and structured, but in the same vein. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Love you and your stuff. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Johnny Depp is so a bottom, you can't convince me. Well, see, you're arguing the actor versus the character. So, I mean, tomato, tomato. Top or bottom? I'm sure JK will tell us in our next interview, unless she saw your video. There was somebody a couple days ago tweeted out, trying to remember what their word, because it was brilliant. It was like, being gay is not a choice. Being gay is something that is bestowed upon you when J.K. Rowling feels it's time. Do you know how to use the sai? Not properly. No, I don't. I've got two katanas, a broadsword, a claymore, an axe, a cutlass, and the sai up here. I don't know how to properly use any of them. I mean, I like to think I wouldn't totally embarrass myself with them, but like, I've got no training. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. Have you checked out Transgender Dysphoria Blues yet? I have not. You know what I need to do is I need to put the CD in my car, because my car does actually have a CD player, and like, that's probably one of the only places I'm gonna actually think to put it on. So actually, that's a good. After this is over, I gotta put the disc in my car and have it just be there. So on my morning commute, I can just be like, oh right, this. Do you play any video games, and what are your favorite? If so, I don't really game anymore because I don't have. Well, primarily I don't have time. I also don't have current systems. Like, I say I don't game. I play Hearthstone a little, and like I've got like PS3 and PS2 era games that I still either haven't finished or in some cases haven't played at all. So when I have a little time, I go back and try and get some time with those, but not a lot. Like, my favorite games are primarily from the 16-bit era. So Secret of Mana, Super Metroid, Mario Kart, Final Fantasy VI. You know, that was sort of my gaming heyday. Well, if he was a bottom, that should have been Alba's first clue that the relationship was bad. In my opinion, a healthy gay couple don't do the top-bottom thing. I am going to push back on you slightly on that, because here's what I would say. Any pairing where there's a lot of emphasis put on the top-bottom dynamic means that there is a lot of focus on sex, which may or may not come at the cost of emotional connection and depth. That, I would say, I wouldn't call that, boy. I was going to say something, and now I'm just going to say it. I wouldn't call it a red flag. I would call it, forgive the terminology, I would call it a pink flag. So, like, that it's not like, oh, that's always a bad sign, but it's like, that could be an indicator of other problems. If they have really prescribed, like, proper roles. And actually, that's not even exclusive to gay men. I've seen a similar dynamic with friends of mine in lesbian relationships, you know, where some people were really fixated on the idea of being the butch in the relationship. And that sometimes, again, not always, but sometimes did often mean kind of a not great recipe as far as a long-term relationship went. This has suddenly become LGBTQ plus education hour. So, welcome. But I imagine even your howlers speak in a cordial, sincere manner. How are you so nice is not a compliment. I'm genuinely baffled. Because I do my screaming in the car. If I need to scream, I'll get in the car and I'll drive somewhere and I will shout until my voice is hoarse. And I try not to do it at people, either in person or on video, because it doesn't help. There was something I read once, and it was probably on, I think it was on Cracked actually, but it was, nobody ever had their opinion changed by being yelled at. And I try and keep that in my head. Also, Neville Longbottom had three-way with Luna Lovegood, and Seamus Finnegan and Dumbledore watched. I mean, I feel like you're just hanging out on too many fan art sites. Some of the frisky ones. Oh, hang on. I saw something back here. Oh, it's okay. So I guess there was a question about a name for use. I mean, on here, it's generally Nathaniel. If you want to refer to me as Vera, you can. I can't guarantee everyone in the chat will catch that, because again, I don't, like, I'm pretty out on the channel, but it is only one video a month that I talk about that end of things. So I don't presume that everybody, you know, automatically knows, or even if they get the gender fluidity, that they know that I have other names I might possibly go with. The one thing I will say is I do not care for shortenings of Nathaniel. So Nat, Nate, Nathan. Like, I don't get as worked up as I used to, but not my name. So, you know. I was more asking because I discuss your videos with my BF all the time, and Council of Geeks person is a mouthful. Fair enough. feel free to call me Nathaniel when discussing. How many Daleks do you know who are into BDSM asking for a friend? Well, I mean, they're pretty tightly bound up in those casings. Like, they're into some pretty physically restrictive play, I would say. Thanks for your opinion on this. Sometimes I let myself cry for 5 to 10 minutes tops when I need to unload some steam because I am more like that. I mean, whatever helps you function. You know, if you need to take time to cry, there's no shame in that. Displays of emotion are not weakness. If you choose to have them privately, that's fine too. So, you know, however it is that you process, if it works for you, that's great. How about Mr. Wayne? No, Donna. Mr. Wayne is my father. Actually not true, but no, Mr. Wayne is Batman. So, although I did on a whim for a little while, like, have my phone call me Batman, just because I could. I took the time to cry briefly just now, but animating in the stream is keeping me happy and in control. Well, hey, if anything I do ever helps anybody, like, just perk up their mood at all, I love that. That's amazing. I blame the web comic trade paperback Sunstone for my burgeoning interest in BDSM. Okay, now I'm wondering what Sunstone is. Because I think I only mentioned it in passing. I published a play a couple of weeks ago, and it's on Amazon. And I haven't plugged it on here because it's not all ages appropriate. But you know, some people would argue that my book on cross-dressing isn't all ages appropriate either, but you know, that's people's own call, and I certainly wrote that with the intention for it to be as accessible to as many age ranges as possible. The play, however, I wrote is a hard R, and it's got a lot of BDSM elements in it. So, like, if that's a general interest of you, if you go onto Amazon, well, I mean, honestly, probably the easiest way to find it would be just to look up Vera Wild, because that was the name I published it under. It's called When She Wakes is the name of the play. And even though it's a play and made to be staged, I do think it reads decently, and it's also pretty low price. It's significantly less expensive than the book is. It's also shorter, but so, like, that's there, that's out. So if that whole area is your bag, give it a look, maybe. I don't know. Shameless plug. Council of Geeks ASMR channel. Like, I find ASMR interesting insofar as how it seems like how some people really puts them at ease. Like, I don't get it personally. It doesn't do anything for me, which, like, I suppose on the one hand, like, you don't have to get it in order to produce the content, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, I feel like I'd be hypocritical on it in some way, or that you know, I wouldn't get the enjoyment out of it, because a big part of why I do as much as I do is because I love it. So, how do you listen to Doctor Who audiobooks? I have the Big Finish app. So I listen through my phone, pretty much. What do you think of the patches I sent you? One of them fits the theme. Yes! Oh God, yes. Okay. So the one that you gave me that was for Liz, I did give to her. This past weekend, the erotic librarian patch. I did give to her. And the other one I also love, which I'm trying. Hang on, I'll get it because people should see this. Give me 1 second. I'm coming right back. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna put it on. That I haven't figured out yet. But what it says is put fruit on pizza and destroy the gender binary. As like the banana, I don't know about that, but like as a fan of pineapple on pizza, I support both of these. Chair stream, yeah, for a hot minute there. Did you manage to get my gift from England yet? Possibly. If you're comfortable, Meg, like letting me saying what it was that was sent, like I as I've said at a couple of points, I have lost track of who sent what. If it went to the P.O. box, I may not have gotten it yet because I don't get to the P.O. box daily. I think the last time I went was I think it was either Thursday or Friday. So it's possible that it's still there. If that's where it was sent to. So, right now, yeah, you can go ahead and say it, no worries. But yeah, it did go to the P.O. box. Okay, if it went to the P.O. box, then there's a fair chance I haven't gotten it yet. If I did get it from the P.O. box and it hasn't come up, like, because the stuff I got last time I went, I showed all that in the unboxing and Q&A video that got put out actually on my birthday, so Thursday last week. So if it wasn't any of those, then I probably haven't gotten it yet. So I'm actually gonna try and get to the P.O. box tomorrow, to get any stragglers that might be there. Did you enjoy the album? The question came up. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. Actually, as soon as this is done, I'm going to put the CD in my car so that it's there and I can have it listening, going to my morning commute. Ooh, I catch a live stream. Yes, you do. Welcome. I can always trust someone who loves pineapple on pizza. That may be an unpopular opinion, but thank you. Live stream time blessed me. I didn't have to miss it because of practice. Oh, well, good. I'm happy you liked the licorice. I did. Actually, that was very cool too. Oh, why are we talking about food now? I'm hungry. Oh, actually, you know what? I need to. Anyone who follows me on Instagram already got treated to this little bit of wisdom, but I was given these. This is supposedly a 2-bite cupcake. Yeah, no. Two bites my butt. Just got out of work. Just had dinner. Oh, new subscriber. Nice to see you. That good. I'm not the only one who eats them like this. Yeah, I'm impatient. It's always a weird image to me when somebody takes something small and like bites it in half. They're like, I'm like, just freaking, what are you doing? Like that just always looks weird to me. Wait, you have an Instagram? I do have an Instagram. I have an Instagram under Vera Wild. So if you go on Instagram at Vera Wild, I don't have an Instagram for Council of Geeks. There is an Instagram for Council of Geeks, but it's not me. And it's not like a case of like somebody pretending to be me. Somebody just like, I don't even know how old it is. I can't remember. I stumbled across it once. But yeah, Vera Wild is on Instagram. I finally finished my short story. So relieved. I see the quotes around short. How short did it end up being? Cupcake sandwich. Do you have a fictional crush? That you'd think I would. I honestly don't know. Vera, oh, how is Wild spelled? It's Wylde. Just think of the most pretentious possible way you could spell that as a last name. That's how it's spelled. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there are fictional characters who I'll crush on, like, in the short term, like for the length of watching something, but it doesn't usually linger or last all that long. So I don't have a go-to answer to that. I should figure out, like, I need to like do a deeper dive like into my own memories, that like I may have had one at some point, but for some reason I just kind of drawing a blank. Do you think it's time for society to accept men's mental health more, seeing a suicide is the biggest killer for men under 45? I think there's a lot that, as a society, we need to, and I'm going to be really careful how I word this, that we need to do better by men. And I don't mean that like in a men's rights advocacy kind of way, the way that that those kinds of people tend to mean it. What I mean is, because the image of masculinity has been, you know, this pillar of strength for so long, there is a lot of lack of help for men, because the presumption is a real man doesn't need help. And that comes in a lot of forms that certainly absolutely affects mental health. But just in general, a lot of the resources that are available for men to get assistance, whether it be for mental health, whether it be because they are the victims of sexual assault or things like that, there's this presumption that, well, that doesn't happen to real men. So there isn't a proper handling of that in a lot of ways, in a lot of areas. And that's not to imply that, like, oh, well, we handle mental health of women just fine, why can't we do it for men? No, things like that. And in terms of like reporting sexual assault or whatever, we actually are kind of bad at that across the board. But like, I feel like I'm not sure that there's as much of an awareness that we are sort of failing men in some ways that are different from how other demographics are being failed by these systems, if that makes sense. So somebody said they went to the Instagram and were surprised by what they saw. I'm very curious as to whether or not there was a specific image that evoked that reaction. I probably should have warned, if you're going to the Vera Wild Instagram, it's primarily burlesque related stuff. So it's Instagram. You can't go full nude, and I don't perform full nude anyways, but it is about as racy as you can get away with on Instagram. It's a different vibe from this channel. Probably should have given you a heads up on that. This stream is an educational hug. Yeah, this has turned into like kind of a slightly laid back Let's Talk Issues live stream, which I wouldn't have expected, but I'm kind of enjoying. Yeah. FYI, my story ended up 21 pages and 11,000 words. That's solid. Nice work. Do you watch anime? Not anything current. I mean, I love animation as an art form, so I have an appreciation of anime, but I know most of the time when people ask me, do you watch anime, they mean shows, and I'm way more likely to watch an anime film than I am a show. And even that said, I'm not nearly as steeped in it as most people would be like, oh, I love anime. Like, I do love anime, but like, if I say that, there's an expectation of the volume of stuff that I would have seen that I just don't meet. So, what's your favorite Pokemon? I don't have one, because I really only ever played a couple of hours worth of Pokemon Yellow. And it was fine, but I just didn't stick with it, and I was a little too old for the cartoon when it came out. So it just it's not one of my fandoms. Oh, you seen Love, Death, Robots on Netflix? I'm almost done with it. And when I am finished with it, yes, there is going to be a video on that, because I definitely have thoughts on Love, Death, and Robots. I took a burlesque class once. Very fun. Yeah, no, they totally are. Seriously, if there's a burlesque class anywhere near you and you can work the schedule, I recommend it for literally everybody. I mean, everybody. Every age, every size, every gender variant, including just cis male. I think you'll just have a heck of a lot of fun. And burlesque is one of the most open, all are welcome artistic communities I've ever been involved in. So seriously, I can't recommend it enough. Thank you for your content, and you have the best intros on this platform. Happy birthday, Mom. Thank you very much. It's funny, the intros, they vary wildly. Some of them I put a fair amount of thought into, and others I just I sit down to start to record and I realize, crap, I didn't think of what to say as the intro bit. So some of them are very off the cuff, and some of them have a little more thought behind them. Like the one, the one that started off the sex ed at Hogwarts thing, that one that one was planned, and I was pleased with how much people seem to get a kick out of that. What's the difference between burlesque and drag? Ooh, boy. Okay. If you're all right, but I could honestly fill the rest of the time with this, and I don't want to, so I'm going to ask you to specify. Are you asking me the difference in the art form or the difference in the artistic community? Because those are two very different answers. So let me know what you're asking, and that I will address. Don't to be mean, but trust me, there's most sexist countries and there's not much suicide. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I'm following your statement on that. I specifically mean the art form of burlesque and drag. Okay. So if we're talking the art of drag versus the art of burlesque, drag is much narrower than burlesque is, because drag has a handful of very specific expectations, primarily when it comes to the physical presentation of the performer. Excuse me. The physical presentation of the performers, as well as the kinds of things that they are going to do. So drag comes in a couple of forms. You have the main ones being some form of lip sync, and basically a variant of insult comic stuff. You know, a lot of shade throwing and sort of quote unquote edgy humor. But the expectation, while specifics of dress style may vary, like you get goth drag queens and you get sort of ball and gown drag queens and you get, you know, drag queens, you know, in Daisy Dukes, and like that can vary. There's a very specific aesthetic to the makeup that is expected. The big hair is often a big part of it. The drag by its nature is intended to caricature an extreme exaggeration of femininity, or more specifically, the attributes that society prescribes as being feminine. Burlesque is much broader in its intent. Burlesque I actually consider to be more of a medium than a very specific thing. And what I mean by that is the only thing that is expected in a burlesque performance, and this isn't even always the case, but generally is that there is some degree of a striptease involved, meaning to some extent, clothes that you start out the number with, you will have fewer of them by the time the number ends. Everything else is wide open. It can be funny, it can be sad, it can just be incredibly sultry, it can be angry, it can be political, and there is so there's such a wide spectrum of what, in my experience, and realize I haven't done a proper drag show in about 10 years, so how much the culture of drag may have sort of eased up and gotten less rigid, that's possible. I wouldn't know. But burlesque has such a broad range of what you can and what people do within that art form that I personally don't think drag comes even close to. Drag is much more about perfecting a smaller skill and performance set, whereas burlesque, I just feel is much more, you could, almost anything could happen. Boy, that went on for a little bit. Yes, men's mental health is so important. Speaking as a trans woman, if men's mental health were better, then I may have been into transition much sooner. Yeah, like that's honestly, that's something worth taking on board, that a man questioning their gender identity. Like, I feel like in some ways things are getting better for trans women who know they are trans women, but men who are questioning, and it may crap. Did people just lose me? Am I buffering, or is it only on my end? Oh, I think it's sorted out. Can I can I have the, oh God, come on. Oh no! No! Don't do this. Ah, crap. Shoot. Oh, am I good? Because on my end, it's still looking weird. Actually, hang on. Let me try something here. Okay. Yes, maybe. All right. Cool. Okay, sorry. So, any questions that hit before the whole lag thing happened, I would have missed. Watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I don't want to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood because I watched all of original Full Metal Alchemist, and while it wasn't bad, I found it to be incredibly overrated, and I started watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I'm like, the things that bugged me about the last one are still here, so no, not gonna. So, sorry. Starting off with Bottom Dumbledore, now a lovely lecture on Dragon Burlesque. Yeah, we've really kind of run the gamut on this one. Drag lag. What's the dumbest thing you've ever heard someone say or do? I honestly don't know, because most of the dumbest things I've heard people say are comments that I end up deleting, and then I purge them from my memory. I'm not an anime guy, but I would like to give it a chance. Any suggestions? Well, like, my first suggestion is, broadly speaking, if unless you have a strong preference for long-form storytelling, would be to check out some movies first and get a handle on the art style of anime. And obviously, like, specific directors and artists will vary, but there is a pretty clear anime aesthetic. So I'd start out with some movies. Miyazaki's usually good for that, though that's usually younger age aimed. Summer Wars is one that I will always recommend. Pretty highly for anybody. The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Ghost in the Shell, though that one you have to watch the subtitle because the dub sucks. If you wanted to go for shows, I couldn't tell you much about what is on currently. A lot of people recommend Cowboy Bebop. I'm not as high on that show as a lot of people are. Somebody just suggested Akira. I also think Akira is highly overpraised, but apparently I'm a contrarian to some degree. Wolf Children is very good. Paprika was good. I don't think it's aged great. But as far as shows, like I said, Cowboy Bebop gets recommended a lot, and Cowboy Bebop is very accessible. While I do feel that show is a little bit overrated, it is one of the more accessible ones because it's not as steeped in the very culturally specific ends of anime that can sometimes be distancing if you're not used to them. What bothered you about the first Full Metal Alchemist? So it was a lot of little things that bugged me about Full Metal Alchemist. The way in which it went about telling its story, I felt it kept undercutting itself. And also it indulged in some of the anime tropes that I just don't like. Like, I don't like the free shot, big exaggerated sort of face, style usually done for comedy that animes do sometimes, and Full Metal Alchemist did that, as did Brotherhood in the one episode that I saw, and I really don't like that, though, when that kind of thing happens. And, like, okay, to give you an idea of the kinds of, like, it's been a long time since I've seen Full Metal Alchemist, but to give you an idea of the kinds of things I'm talking about when I say it undercut itself. So a whole big fundamental core conceit of the entire world and the way that alchemy works within this universe is that you cannot create something from nothing. There has to be an equal transfer. Anything you create has to be made from something. And basically something has to be lost for whatever new thing you create. That is established immediately. It's like the core tenet that this entire thing is built on. And in episode one, we see a character who appears to break this rule. And we find out that the lead character's entire thing is finding a way to break this rule. So I'm like, you tell me that this is a pillar of your world that you built, and then you immediately undercut it. And yes, the guy in the first episode turned out to be a charlatan, but it's like, you can't subvert my expectations on a rule when I haven't lived with it for more than like a couple of minutes. Then I just feel like you don't know how to parse out this information in a way that makes the narrative work. And that's the kind of stuff that would happen throughout that show that would bug me. Law of equivalent exchange. Yes, that's the one. Crap. I'm buffering again on my end. I don't know if it's happening for anybody else. Okay. Demons of the Punjab or Father's Day? Oh, Demons of the Punjab, easily. I'm not a big fan of Father's Day. I hate the Reapers too much. Okay. What have we got? Oh, jeez. Boy, we ate up an hour really... Oh, jeez. Boy, we ate up an hour really fast, everybody. I don't know how that happened. Yeah. And no, I'm not like just downing the water. It is water. Like I did alcohol that one time, but it is just water. Have you watched Death Note and Hellgirl? I have not seen either one of those. Like I said, a lot of current anime I just haven't seen. Like stuff that I've seen all the way through for series. I've seen Standalone Complex, both the first season and second gig. I have that's Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. I've seen Hellsing. I think I saw all of Hellsing Ultimate, or maybe I didn't get to the end of that one. I can't remember. The later installments got hard for me to get a hold of. I've seen Escaflowne, which to date is my favorite anime series, and I've seen Cowboy Bebop. I think that's it for things that I've seen the complete run of. I think so. Why is the rum gone? There's never enough rum. Strange dress sense, shape-shifting, semi-consciousness time machine, love for adventure. Is Ms. Frizzle a time lady? I mean, yeah. I mean, did we ever doubt that? In my mind, the only question is Miss Frizzle a time lady that we've already met? Is Miss Frizzle Susan? Is Miss Frizzle Romana? Is Miss Frizzle Missy? I don't like the idea that she's a time lady. Like, yeah, I feel like that's a given. Blink or turn left? Blink. Turn left is fine. I just don't love it as much as a lot of people do. One Punch Man is great. I watched the first episode of One Punch Man, and it was pretty good, but again, it became one of the many things that are like, this is fine, but I don't immediately like feel a driving need to keep going, and so I haven't gone back to it. Try Sailor Moon, but stay away from the dub due to all the translation, or sorry, all the trans erasure. Yeah, I know a little bit about that, but I'm not sure Sailor Moon's my bag, like in general. I have a feeling if I tried to watch Sailor Moon, I would just spend most of it going, I think I'd rather be rewatching the new She-Ra. So, what can you do? Yeah, I did see Glass. I did a review of it a little while ago. You know what? You know what I haven't seen? And it's not out, like within 50 miles of where I live, and I'm really ticked off. Us is not playing anywhere near me. I'm legitimately ticked off right now. Because I want to see that movie so bad. Ah. U.S. shows usually take out LGBT stuff in the dubs. That's true of anime and also of video games in some very weird instances. Although also in one random instance, accidentally inserting trans content where at least officially it was not ever intended to be there. Yeah, translations are weird things. Any plans for Shazam? Well, to see it and review it. Like, Shazam is one that I'm not that stoked about, so like if it's convenient for me to see it, I will. And if I see it, I'll review it. It's not one I'm gonna rearrange my schedule to see. What instance? Oh, okay. So Birdo from the Super Mario games. If you happen to have the original Super Mario Bros. 2 and still have the instruction booklet for it, which I do, in the American version of that, it says that Birdo is a boy who thinks he's a girl. Official line from Nintendo is that was a translation error and was not ever the original intention of the character, and officially she is just a girl in all subsequent Mario media. But I've got the instruction book, so I do know that for once upon a time, in one territory at least, Birdo was trans. Did you hear Fox wanted to remake Torchwood with a straight Captain Jack? I didn't, but thank God they did not do that. Can you quickly dab? No. No. That I will not do. I'm 37 years old. I'm not going to dab. There needs to be a hard cutoff for that kind of thing. Doom Patrol is so good. I would like to see Doom Patrol, but you know, just trying to figure out. Again, it's you know, it's time. But can you flaw? No, I can't. I like on a whim. I tried to figure out if I can. I can kinda, but like the instant I start thinking about it, it throws me off and I can't do it. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Venom combined with Deadpool would defeat Thanos easily. 37, I thought you were just 30. Oh, well, thank you. I will take that as a compliment. So thanks so much. No, don't go. Aww. You folks. So no, I am gonna wrap it up. I need to figure out if I'm gonna shoot another video or if I'm gonna work on editing, because both of those I need to be working. I thought you were 20. You're a liar, Gabe. You thought I was 20. Bull. Like heck you did. But random question before I go, because this was something I thought about, and then I'm like, that would be fun, but I'm like, would anybody care? So I've had in at least 2 videos now, people compare my laugh to the Joker, and I'm debating, like, as a lark. Like, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe April 1st, but it wouldn't really be April Fool's. It wouldn't be a joke. It would just be silly, which is like to do like various renditions of various kinds of laughs, various Joker laughs. Cause like which Joker? Well, they're not impressions. It's just apparently I have a very a laugh that passes for Joker. So. I mean, people, depending on how long you've been on the stream, you would have heard it earlier. My sort of bursting out laugh is kind of very Jokerish, but yeah, it's yeah. I have a repertoire. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. What time's the stream next week? Okay, yeah, next week is also gonna be 9 o'clock. So I know it's gonna end up being 9 o'clock 3 weeks in a row, when normally I try and do 9/7, 9/7. But this would have been a 7 o'clock, except I've got work stuff that was keeping me late. So you know, I had to do 9, and then next week is the one that was always gonna be. Oh, hey Tracy. When the choice is the Joker, always do the Joker. Mark Hamill preferred. Well, yes. Have you ever watched The Sopranos? I have not seen The Sopranos. Is Vera a top or bottom? Vera is a switch. Vera always is and always has been a switch. Depends on the mood you catch. But yeah, okay. I will... Okay, yeah, I'll probably, for the fun of it, I will probably end up doing a Joker Lab video, and I can preview you folks a little bit as I sign off for the night. So, trying to think. All right, so I could give you the sinister build, I could give you the explosive cackle, or I could give you the complete madness. What are people feeling before I head out? And a Missy laugh. I'm not sure if I could do Missy. Make it rain to make him stay. That works. Madness, madness, complete madness, madness. Okay. Give me a second. I just scared the dog. You're welcome.